You're live.
Proceed, sir.
Should I start?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Good evening, everybody. This is February the 9th, 10th, excuse me. This is the town board meeting, special commentary section by Good Energy with Mr. Ed Carey presenting. Proceed, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So you're in the last stretches of going forward with your CCA, so we have to come over here in the Public Service Commission as to go through our due diligence and what has to be said and done really to finally move forward. As you know, coming up here, I found out through former supervisors that we've been doing business with the New Baltimore for over 10 years, which is a great thing. And New Baltimore has, through this program, has saved over $500,000 in this program has done a lot of good for the town of Baltimore. So I commend the old administration, new administration on what you've done. You've done a great job. So congratulations on doing that. When we had to go through this in the past, the contract would end and the new contract would start. With this one, because of market conditions, the market had run up, and we couldn't do that because now it's going to expire. It expired in December, and then the new contract will be starting next month in March of 2025. When we were going forward with this, the market at that time in Central Hudson was in around 10.1, and we decided on a price around 8.9. That was our contractual price. So hopefully we can stay under that number. I have to describe to the public of what community choice aggregation is. Community choice aggregation, New York City is the 7th state to have adopted this program. It's really trending all throughout the United States. It started in California, Illinois, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey. And what it is a residential program. It's not for commercial, it's for residents. Well, for sort of small accounts, it's for accounts that are SC1 and SC2. So SC1 would be a home, and SC2 would be a small business, like a pizza shop or a barber shop or something like that. So this program has not only helped the residents, it's also helped your Main Street, small local businesses. It's helped them out as well. And what it is you're going forward identical like to what a private business would do. They would get all their assets together, and then they go out to bid, and they would get a fixed or an index type product for their electricity or natural gas. You've done the exact same things here. Like all your residents have to come together as one, and we've gone out and we've gotten a fixed price for your homes. You can do this on your own. The average home is between 1,000 and 3,000 square feet. Your buying power is in the hundreds of thousands of square feet. So your buying power is growing tremendously on going out and buying a commodity. And part of that is you get a fixed rate. And I want to emphasize, we don't have a contract. So there is no contract. So this is an opt-out program. The board and the supervisors and the elected officials have decided, they followed what the other municipalities around the state of New York and they benefited. They decided that a vote was passed to go forward with this program, and you don't have to be in the program. It's an opt-out. If you don't want to be in the program, you call us up, you go to the internet, whatever, and you're out. There's no strings attached to it. There's no penalties to say if you leave or after the contract has gone on for whatever amount of time you went out, you are out. There's no like hidden things saying I have the right to now charge you $10 or $50, whatever it may be. If you're out, you're out. And it's the exact same thing. If the market runs up and you're now at paying, you were paying 10 something. Now if the market is going up, and I personally think energy is going up, if you're in 11, you can call us up and you can get in that 8 cent range also. And there's no to come in and come out of the program. There's no fees. You can say, hey, I want in this program, and you're in, or you can say you're out, whatever it might be. Moving forward, I described to you what a CCA is, and also there are 4 administrators in the state, and now we predict by the end of this year there'll probably be 7. Some of my competitors have gone out of this business for whatever reason, but as an administrator, we set up the program, and we basically we get all the different energy companies to come in here and bid on your power. So we've invited we advertise it to companies of NRG, Constellation, Calpine. These are multi-billion-dollar energy companies that will not take an individual house. They only go for large-scale purchasing. We bring them in, and they bid on the power. And that's what the administrator does. And everything we do, we have to report up to the Public Service Commission. So we are heavily regulated by the Public Service Commission in Albany, and we have to report everything we do. As an example, is tonight, we'll have to send a report up there saying what we're doing. If you're in the program, it's basically if you're on with another supplier or you're on a no block list type thing, we don't know that you even exist. All of our information comes from the utility. It comes from Central Hudson. They send it to us, and then we send it to different energy companies. We don't keep lists. We don't have everything we get after they it gets wiped clean. So then. Okay, so how is this going to affect your energy bill? Obviously, we're trying to reduce the cost. There are 3 components on your bill. You have the transportation, the distribution, and the supply portion. Central Hudson makes 100% of their profit on the transportation and the distribution of the power. They are not allowed to make any money on the supply portion. The supply portion is a complete pass-through on an index market, so it goes up and down every single day, and they're not allowed to give you a fixed rate. In this program, New Baltimore, or Greene County, CCA, they're able to give you a fixed price. So now you have budget certainty going forward, saying, all right, in the course of the year, I know exactly what I'll be paying on my supply portion. And then I told you about the different eligible accounts. And we talked about the different rate structures of going from 10 down to 8, which I've already mentioned. And again, people, if they don't want to be in this program, it is on the New Baltimore municipal website saying how to get out of it. Again, it's at the Greene County CCA. Will also inform them if you type in New Baltimore CCA, you're going to get a lot of information saying that you don't want to be in this program, or if you decide you want to be in the program. I have a business card. If anybody wants any of this, you can call me anytime. I'm completely transparent, open. You can call me on Sundays if you want. I don't care. And does anybody have any questions?
Do you know what the, last time when Javier was here, he knew the rate that Central Hudson was paying now? Do you know what that rate is?
That gets released on Thursdays. So
Okay.
Thursday's rate, and that's a live rate, was at 8.2. So it does change, but that was the default rate, what we call it, on last Thursday, what they came out with.
Okay.
With the snow and the way we hear all about, Con Edison is raising the rates. We're hearing all this stuff right now just because energy is where they want the economy to go, and where energy is, there's no way of supporting where the economy is. So everyone is predicting that energy is going to be going northward. So Constellation being the largest energy company in the United States right now, they just purchased Calpine for $30+ billion. Reason why? They think energy is going to go up. So that was one of our biggest, not we were, but in the energy world, that was probably the biggest thing that just sort of shook everyone. So that's sort of like what in the finance world or utility world is we believe rates are going up. So what you've done here, as you know, this is a sort of like an insurance program where you're locking in your rate and it's a choice. You can stay in it or you can stay out of it, whatever you want.
Yeah, so it's basically stayed pretty steady for the month of January. Central Hudson.
yeah.
It was, I think it was like 8 cents when he was here, right? It was
Yeah.
around 8 something when he was here, so it basically stayed steady for the month of January.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So what do you mean? You're in the eights right now.
To
So
probably oversimplify this entire process, it's kind of like having a variable mortgage or a fixed rate
identical.
mortgage.
I mean, I try to make it in layman's terms as much as possible because energy can get pretty technical, and there's sometimes
You can get a variable at 3%
it's
and then
like
it goes to
identical to something
12,
like that.
whereas a fixed rate, you're always gonna have the 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's people who pay their mortgage. If you're on a 15 or a 30 mortgage rate, I would think it'd be suicidal to go on an index rate. Like, people like budget certainty.
I had variable ones.
Yeah.
It was scary. Sounded good at the beginning though.
I don't have that type of risk. So so what this really is, it's your elected officials have brought you a risk management choice. And again, I cannot emphasize enough that you have a choice here. This is not communist. It's like you can do it, and it's a risk management tool that you can use for your home.
You want a fixed rate, you want a variable rate.
Correct.
That's part of the choice.
Yeah.
One comment, and the town doesn't get any benefit from this program at all, just
The
all.
town gets zero. Absolutely, this is a state
Oh.
thing that has it, but
This
Yeah.
makes that choice between the fixed and the variable available to the residents. That's really what this is.
that's what it is. Yeah. To wrap it up in 3 seconds, that's exactly what it is.
See, I did learn something.
Are you hiring? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, anyway, forgive us, and for people watching on the camera, Javier's been here, is it 3 times already or twice?
11, I think.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say
a
at
lot.
least 4.
I mean, with no disrespect at all, but those of us on the board have heard you yourselves,
Well, I'm like,
and over, and heard you.
my brother lives up in Wyndham, so I get to go there where Javier was like, he said like, you're going this time.
We thought we were gonna have
If
to
I
put a
may
comment
ask,
here at some point.
I read something in the papers, and this is about New York City, and something about they're looking at some massive hike in their, I believe, electric rates. I didn't read the whole article with detail. I don't know if you saw that.
That was there was a big article. I mean, not my greatest source of reliability in communication, but the New York Post. They had an article on Friday, and then today's paper they had a big article about rates are going to go up in New York City and in Westchester.
Yeah, they were talking. It wasn't Central Hudson, but one.
Yeah, I mean,
Presumably
it's like,
follows,
I mean, they're all sort of buying from the same. It's not like I mean, yes. How do you control electricity? I mean, it's like majority of electricity in the United States is the feedstock is natural gas. So whatever the natural gas market is doing, that's what the electricity market is doing. And yes, you do have some nuclear power in there. Very, very little fuel. I think zero coal. Maybe in Wyoming, Terry, Utah, they still burn coal there to create electricity, but it's very limited. But when where is electricity coming? Yes, is it controlled by weather? Of course it is, but a big part of it is controlled by banks, and they're investing in these energy fields, saying we're gonna keep it in the ground because we speculate it's gonna go up, and then vice versa. Sometimes they flood the market because we'll watch the price go up, and then these little dips, and it's someone flooding the market with energy where it's coming from. But where you're getting it is New York ISO, and that's the wholesale. And then every utility has their own utility zone, and those are just, you start in zone A in Buffalo and you end up in zone K in Long Island. And, but all the energy is, the wholesale is the New York Independent System Operator. That's
Took me
what
a
we're
year to
getting.
understand what ISO
Huh?
meant. Took me a year to understand what the independent system operator did.
Yeah, well, New York has their
Completely
own. I mean, New England is like, yeah, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, like that also, it's like, they call it NISO, but it's NE for New England. California has Casio, Illinois has MISO, and Texas has ERCOT. And, there's 25 deregulated states, so.
What impact will Champlain Hudson Power Express have on electric rates in New York State?
I mean, we're up there, I mean, we supply parts of Plattsburgh and parts of Chazy, so up in Champlain. I know we have
No,
so
this is different. There's that new transmission line
This
So
is
coming
one
through.
down here.
coming from,
Champlain
Ottawa,
Hudson Power
actually,
Yeah,
Express.
yeah, yeah.
from, I think it's hydroelectric signals
It's,
from Ottawa.
it's Hydro-Quebec and,
Quebec.
and TransCanada is doing that, because I know they went through whatever the big forest there in New Hampshire, and now it's coming into New York.
It's already being
It's-
dug right now
Yeah.
behind her house,
Baltimore.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all wholesale power.
right?
down into
So it's
the
going right
front
into the,
It's
I
going
mean,
right to the city though.
they're,
It's a-
what's, like, when they they decommissioned Indian Point,
right.
yeah, the nuclear power plant, that was 20% of the generation in New York.
Mm-hmm,
So when that went,
that's right.
where do you have to, you have to fill that gap.
Well, I didn't, I'm just
But we don't
conceptualizing
get
here, but
anything.
if there's an increase in supply, I mean, how does that affect us?
It doesn't, you're on a fixed rate.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty
Oh,
of
that's
this
not
type of
gonna be
thing.
done till 2027.
So when rates go up, you can, crack a bottle of champagne.
When Constellation made that big purchase of that other large, supplier, obviously it's not gonna affect the rate that's already fixed for this year, but going forward, will there still be the competition, or how's that gonna affect what Constellation?
I mean, Constellation's biggest competitor is NRG. I mean, NRG is another just massive company. They have the NRG Stadium down in Houston, that's where the Texans play. They're, I don't know, depending on the stock price, who's bigger, they go back and forth. They're each probably 90 to 100 billion dollar companies. They're massive. Yeah, in the state of New York, there's 200 registered ESCOs. I've been doing this business now for close to 30 years. I would trust about 10 of them. The other 100, whatever, I would not. And these big companies come in and they swallow up the competition. It's, I wouldn't call it a monopoly, but it's sort of narrowing down to 4 or 5 people now. The companies, excuse me, that sort of dominate the market.
Thank you.
How long is this contract for?
24 months. So it's not a short exposure. Nice to see you again.
I'm sorry, I'm a little late.
Yeah.
You missed.
I've heard it a few
Yeah.
times already.
Any other questions?
No.
I'll
Thank you.
ask you a question, excuse
Beg
me.
your pardon.
I'll ask you a question. There was money coming to the towns along this route from Canada to Queens, okay, in the construction part. Then we got notified that they weren't gonna meet their, what would you call it, monies that they were gonna give to the town until next year and not this year. Shelley, you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. How do we know we can depend on you next time you're a little low in funds, where our share is the one that always gets dropped?
I'm sort of lost with the question.
I want to know how stable you are. Bottom line, how black or red are you?
Well, I mean, our company, we're a very stable company. We have probably I would guess individual contract, probably about 5 million contracts out there.
When
We're
you
the
say
largest.
contracts, are you talking about town contracts?
No,
County?
we're in the CCA world area that we as administrator, we're the largest in the United States. So we have we're in every deregulated market. So we're in New Hampshire, we're in Connecticut, we're we're in New York, obviously, we're in New Jersey, Illinois, Texas, California. We do this all across the United States. Our sort of credibility of how we're backed, you have basically 3 large associations that sort of run the state. You have NISAC, there's 61 counties in the state of New York, and so we're active with them. AOT, which is the Association of Towns, of which New Baltimore is a member. There's 938 supervisors in the state. And then NICOM, which is the mayors, there's 528 mayors in the state of New York. So NICOM and AOT, the mayors and the supervisors came together and they created something called NIMEP, which is the New York Municipal Energy Program. And they went around the state and they checked all the different administrators and we won that contract. So our credibility and our stability is like, we're backed by all the supervisors and all the mayors in the state.
If I can clarify something for you regarding CHP, Champlain Hudson Power Express.
Yes,
The town gets money every year
right,
from them
yeah.
because they're running the lines through our
Through
town.
us, right.
And it begins upon completion of the construction.
Mhm.
And
And that's in Queens, am I
construction-
correct?
final transmission is in Queens. It's where the construction has to end.
Mhm,
And construction, they are behind.
mhm.
So they have not changed their commitment because construction has been delayed.
So that's why we were told we wouldn't be getting the payments. So,
Not as immediate.
They actually are suggesting the fall of '26. But
Mhm.
construction schedules being what they are, I'm not banking on it.
well, since I've read the Times Union and seen the maps that have changed direction at least a half a dozen times since they came into the United States, I don't know when they'll ever get it finished.
Well,
I have little faith in this.
we haven't put that money in our budget yet. Okay,
I
fair
know,
enough?
we know we don't have it to go.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Carey.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I have a question.